Okay, so why has dating become so hard? We're at a time in this point in history where we now have more ways to meet anyone than possible, but we also have more single people than ever before. So why is that? Well, stick with me and I'm going to tell you why dating is hard, but also how you can make it easier with a couple of easy tricks. Hey guys, I'm Renee Slansky. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am a professional dating and relationship coach, and I help women from all around the world build the relationship that they desire and deserve. And if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, then make sure you do now. And don't forget, I have loads of free resources in my bio below. All right, let's talk about dating and how complicated it actually has become. And one of the reasons why I actually started building e-courses and why I actually started to become a dating coach was because I just got over the BS out there when it came to how complicated everyone is making something that is actually quite simple. There's two ways that you can work in love. You can work hard or you can work smart. And I don't know about you, but I would rather work smart. Dating doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be a draining and exhausting process. And just because you've experienced it that way, it doesn't mean that it has to continue to go that way. So what I want to do is I want to kind of give you my sort of tips and hacks. First, I want to address the sort of issues of why it's hard, and then I want to give you the solutions to those issues. So let's jump in right now. Number one, communication sucks. Let's be honest. We have texting, we've got messaging, we've got Instagram, we've got social media, we've got Facebook, we've got every way you can possibly think of to communicate. I mean, gosh, you could probably even still send pigeons to someone. Yet people really don't seem to be able to communicate. Like, it's ridiculous. And that's because we're so used to just hiding behind a screen. Now, when you're actually going on a date with somebody, it needs to be about not just what you're saying to them through a screen. It needs to also be about going out and actually meeting them face to face. You're never really going to know the full potential of someone if you're only having a relationship with them through a screen or through a dating app. People have become super lazy with communicating. I mean, how often does someone actually pick up the phone and call a date and have a conversation with them as opposed to just sending a text? Don't get me wrong, I think texting is a great way to be able to flirt with someone and send pictures and little emojis and all that. But let's look at what the old school way of being able to talk to someone was about. And that was literally picking up the phone and actually calling them. So if you want to be able to improve communication so that you don't have crappy dates, so that you know where you stand, what it is that you both want, where you're both heading, are you on the same page, then you need to get over your fear of being able to talk to that person. And a lot of the time we have this fear of being able to talk to them face to face or over the phone is because, number one, we're not really conditioned to do that anymore. But number two is because we have fear of their rejection or fear of their reaction to us talking. Look, this is what dating is. Dating isn't a guarantee that the first person that you connect with is going to be the one. And even then, you should be trying to implement strong communications earlier on when you first start dating someone, as opposed to 6 months or a year into a relationship with them. Set the standard right from the beginning so that you can have something strong to build from, as opposed to trying to just kind of fit it in when you come to a problem. Number two, people have so many choices, okay? There are literally hundreds of dating apps out there, and a lot of the time I see these dating apps before you guys even see them. And we need to remember that just because we have more access to people, it doesn't mean that they're going to be quality people. And so what we're getting is, because we've got so many options, we have something called choice fatigue. And choice fatigue is where basically we're putting our eggs in so many different baskets looking for the next one. Is there potential in there? Is there potential in there? That we're never fully committed to who is out there, and we're always searching for the next best thing. That's why we get this constant sort of pattern of relationship after date after relationship after date, because we're just overwhelmed with the amount of choices that are actually out there. So what you need to do is you need to limit the amount of apps and people that are available to you. That means maybe only going on one app. In fact, I tell all of my clients that they're only allowed on 2 apps at the same time. It's not so much about quantity, people. It's more about quality. Really kind of narrow down the playing field, so to speak, by limiting the amount of apps that you go on or the amount of dates that you say yes to, so that you can start to hone in on what it is that you really want and who it is that is actually available to you. Number 3, impatience. The reason why dating has become so hard is because everyone wants it now. We are such an instant gratification society. We're so impatient. We want the next phone. We want the next latest thing. We want this, this, and this. If our internet takes more than 2 seconds to load, we're like, it's so slow, right? We are an impatient society, and what we're doing is that's actually transcending into our relationships, and we're kind of wanting to either we're wanting to rush the dating phase and go straight to the relationship when we don't even really know who we're committing to, and then they break our hearts and we're like, but I loved him. And it's like, well, you didn't even know him, okay? Or we're kind of just expecting a certain expectation from someone and expecting this great relationship, when in reality, great relationships take a whole lot of time to actually be built over a certain amount of years. Take your time when you are dating. Don't be in a rush. Set the pace. If you go in too fast, too soon, and go too strong, then you're going to get relationship burnout, or you're going to get love burnout. Even if the person that you're dating is wanting to move really quickly, you don't have to match their pace. You can actually pull it back a little bit so that you can set it at a really healthy sort of pace. People change over time, and the only way you're really going to get to know someone is if you actually do take your time and see them in different circumstances and see what they're consistent in. That's why it's important not to rush the dating phase. Number 4, social media. Okay, let's just talk about that for a second. I know I've done videos on this before, and I really recommend checking them out. Social media has had a huge impact on relationships, okay? I'm talking friendships, family relationships, and definitely romantic relationships, because what it does is it does give you access to other people's lives. A lot of people become more open about what's going on in their own world, and we start to believe that's the truth, or we use it against others, and it can become really messy. It also gives you access to people you might not have had access to before, especially from your past, and that's where blurred boundaries can kind of get into place. I personally don't believe that you should use social media to try and find someone to date. I believe social media is a great way to obviously see other people's lives and showcase your own life in a healthy way, and it's a great way to be able to connect with new people as well. And my light just went out. There you go. Social media has a lot of gray areas, and what I mean by that is we tend to stalk people before we even get to know them, and 43% of us actually Google our dates before we go on a date with somebody. So my advice is don't use social media for dating. Stick to dating apps for that. Stick to trying to meet somebody in real life, and try not to stalk your date on social media before you actually go on a date with them, or when you are dating them at the same time. And lastly, we have become lazy. Because we're an impatient group of people, we're also a lazy bunch of people, meaning we don't want to put in the effort. We expect the other person to do all the effort. We expect the result and the perfect person to just walk into our life, and then we'll have the perfect relationship. If you want to have a successful dating life, if you want to have a successful relationship, you have to understand that you have a role to play in that. You can't put all the pressure on the other person. It's about what you bring to the table. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are areas that maybe you need to improve on to become a more dateable person, to become more marriage material, okay? Are you putting in enough effort when it comes to reciprocating or initiating, so that men aren't feeling like they have to do everything all the time? This isn't battle of the sexes. This is about not only initiating and going out and making an effort to communicate and making an effort to follow up and with your appearance and go on a date and actually get the ball rolling, but it's also about making sure that when you're actually starting to see someone and get into a relationship with someone, that effort doesn't stop, okay? There's obviously a level of how much you invest early on into someone to make sure that you're investing into the right person, but you should always be putting some sort of effort into a relationship and to the dating phase so that you can actually come across as somebody who is able to add value. Well, there you go, guys, and my light's still out. I'm going to change that for the next video. Hope that really helped you. If you have any questions on any sort of videos that you want me to do, don't forget to put your comments in the link below, and to check out all my free resource as well. Don't forget to subscribe. I love you and believe in you all. Thank you for being such amazing followers, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.